Hi, I'm Kevin with the Y Richmond and welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in today and hanging out with me. I want to give a shout out to all my new subscribers who have joined the last 3 months. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying the song associations, the vlogs, and the covers. There's more good stuff to come, so stay tuned. Alright, so you read the title or you clicked on the thumbnail and we're here today to talk about being vegan and going home for the holidays. It can be hard sometimes, especially if you're new. I went plant-based about 4 years ago. Seems longer than that, but I guess 4 years is a long time. My mom had just had a surgery and she wasn't going to be able to be on her feet for a while, so I went to San Antonio to try to help out as much as I could. Sometimes I feel like my mom hit the jackpot because she got all boys, but then sometimes I'm like, oh, she got all boys. There's nobody in that house who fully understands her experience, and I try to be mindful of that as much as possible, especially getting older. So I went home to try to help do little things that she wouldn't be able to do. I feel like I did some tasks that she asked me to do, but mostly I remember just hanging out and watching movies and having all these cool conversations. I think me being there helped lift her spirits, and that was good enough for me because it definitely lifted mine. But being that my mom is the primary cook and she was off her feet, my pop, ever the provider, he would bring home takeout like all the time. And I feel like I just remember having pizza and wings and barbecue. Oh, I used to love brisket. I had so much brisket. There was even a really cool place in the neighborhood that they live, and he took me there, and it was so good. But after 2 weeks, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so much food, and but not a vegetable in sight. So when I got back to LA, I decided to go on a 14-day raw cleanse to just kind of reset myself. About 4 days into the cleanse, I watched this documentary called What the Health, and it just changed my whole perspective on meat and dairy and how much of it I was consuming, how I would put it into my body without even really thinking about it. And I decided, like, pretty much as soon as the documentary ended, to give up meat and dairy for the rest of the month. I was already not going to be eating it on the cleanse, and so 2 more weeks didn't seem like that big of a deal. Also, I had done a meat and dairy free January before. I did a V-January or V-January, whatever it's called. I did it before, so this wasn't uncharted territory for me. Just this time, it was more of a conscious choice rather than just like following fad. I told myself at the end of the month I'd check in to see how I was feeling, and the month passed by and it was fine. I felt great. I felt good. I thought I was gonna miss dairy a lot because I have a really big sweet tooth. I've spoken about it on this channel before, but yeah, I love ice cream and I love cookies and cakes and all that kind of stuff. So I thought I was gonna be like fiending for dairy, but at the end of the month I was like, I think I could do this again. So I did it again, and I was like, I'll check in at the end of this month and see how I feel. So that month passed, and then I was like, oh, let's do it again. And then another month passed, and then 3 months turned into 6 months, and next thing you know, it's like time for the holidays. And I said to myself, all right, clearly this is cool for you. So I just decided at that point to just continue not eating meat or dairy until I didn't feel like not doing it anymore. It was time for the holidays, so I went to San Antonio for Thanksgiving. My mom was back on her feet. She was cooking an amazing meal, but I was like really not prepared. I don't even think I told anybody that I was not eating meat and dairy. I think I just told her the day before Thanksgiving. It might have actually been on Thanksgiving. I think I just was like surveying the spread and just was like, oh, I don't eat meat or dairy anymore. Oh man, that was crazy. But anyway, I said that, and just kind of like a knee jerk, she's like, well, I don't know what you're gonna eat. But then she was like, okay, you can have the green beans, or you could have the greens and take out the smoked turkey. You could have yams, and she started naming off all these sides. But what she did not name was macaroni and cheese. Of course, because it's mac and cheese, but it's like my favorite dish that my mom makes on Thanksgiving. And it was at that moment that I realized even more that I was just like not prepared to like even possibly contribute to this dinner or something that I could eat. I just wasn't even mentally prepared. I was not mentally prepared to like not have the comforts of these dishes that I was so accustomed to. And then also, I actually started feeling like I was bringing down the vibe of Thanksgiving. At that time, it was just me, my mom, my brother, and my pop. And Thanksgiving is really cool for us. We just like sit at the big dining room table and we just like eat for like a long time and talk and tell stories. It's awesome. And I felt like I was bringing down that vibe because I had these restrictions. And I didn't want to feel like that. So I decided to just have a vegetarian Thanksgiving. And at first, like I fought myself for a while about it, but then I was like, no, you can do this. It's fine. And it actually was fine. It was really good. The dinner was awesome. I mean, of course, I got that mac and cheese. And the vibe was cool. Thanksgiving was fantastic. But when I got to my room later on that night, I started feeling really, really bad. I was like down on myself. Like not physically bad. My stomach was fine. The food was great. But I just mean like emotionally, I felt really, really bad. I was beating myself up. And I even felt like a failure. I had done this for 6 months, like no meat, no dairy. And I felt weirdly good about it. Like for some reason that was like an accomplishment. And I was just kicking myself. It was a really bad feeling. But then suddenly I got some clarity and a voice said, what is this imaginary pedestal that you've set yourself up on? It's not real. It's not real at all. You made a choice to have this food today and you enjoyed it. So that's that. If you make a choice tomorrow to resume eating meat and dairy, that's fine. If you make a choice tomorrow to not eat meat and dairy, that's also fine. And that kind of like gave me some freedom. It felt really good to just like realize that it wasn't the end of the world. I wasn't some awful person. I wasn't a failure. I just made a conscious choice and that was that. And the next day I made a conscious choice to not eat meat and dairy again. And when Christmas came around, I was prepared. I went to Arizona for Christmas. I usually split the holidays, and I went and I stayed with my grandmother, and I told her in advance that I no longer eat meat and dairy. And she's used to me doing things that other people in our family don't really do, so she didn't really blink. I mean, she was just like, do we need to get a tofurkey? And I was like, no, we don't need a tofurkey. I'm just going to have a feast of sides. And I just asked, could we use this dairy-free butter? And she was like, yeah, of course. You know, you can make it if you want. I can show you. And that was really cool because I had never really cooked with my grandmother before. And so even though it was just like the sides, like her showing me the stuff and really upping my culinary games was A plus in my book. I mean, I was considered the microwave king until that point. So to add a little something else to my repertoire was really cool. I actually also called my mom and asked her for her mac and cheese recipe, and I just veganized it, and it was really good. Everybody really loved it, or they said they did at least. Well, anyway, I really loved it. I thought it was good. It was a hit. And in the years after that, I also did the same thing with my mom. Like, she invited me into the kitchen and we made dishes together. I just like would veganize some of her recipes. And sometimes she would actually even find vegan recipes for me and we would make them together. She also taught me how to make a sweet potato pie, vegan style, which was very, very good. It was sweeter than the non-vegan sweet potato pie, but that was fine with me because I like sweets. But yeah, it's been really cool having these experiences because I probably would not have had them had I not had to make food for myself. Like sharing these moments in the kitchen and learning from these women who are super important to me and who are also amazing cooks. Like if I can be like a tenth of what they are, I feel like I'm set for life. So if it's your first time being vegan or plant-based or whatever it is for the holidays, it's okay. It might be a little bit tough, but it's not impossible. I just recommend you be prepared. Like be prepared to like make some of your own dishes and share it with your family. Be prepared if you share it and they don't like it, you know, and also be prepared like mentally for not having like the same traditions that you might have normally had or the same comforts that you might have had, just pivoting a little bit. But also you may need to be prepared if your family's anything like mine for the people who are just gonna like give you a hard time. I know my family was giving me the side eye that Christmas. A few people were like, oh, you're not eating no ham? And it's like, I haven't eaten pork since I was 9. What are you talking about? Relax. But no, yeah, you might have to be mentally prepared for that as well. But it's okay. I'm wishing you all the best. I'm sending you all the good and festive vibes. If you're curious about any of the recipes that I shared with my family, comment below and I'll be more than happy to share. Also, if you have any good holiday recipes, let me know in the comments. I'm still trying to up my culinary game. That's it. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe and smash that bell for notifications. I'm wishing each and every one of you the happiest of happy holidays. And until then, my friends, I'll see you next time.